Hey everyone, it's Nina. So this human design video today, I am going to talk more about the 3536, and this is one of my absolute favorite channels. I have 3 channels, but this one is the most exciting because it's all about variety and having experiences and riding through the emotional wave in order to have, a learning experience that I can share with the collective, and that line itself carries a lot of purpose because anything or any experience that I enter into, it has purpose for me because I know that there's something that I'm going to be able to share with other people. So I find that people with the 3536 love to travel. These people tend to bop around a lot, and especially if you have an open G, it can be difficult to really settle down and have an exact place that you want to be. But the 3536, we just want to go out and we just want to experience life. Even if we know it's not going to end well, we're still going to go do it. We just want to experience it because it helps us to embody things on a much deeper level, and they're lessons that we need to learn. And I would say, as a 6 line, the first 30 years of my life, I was constantly entering in experiences that may not have been super correct for me. And so as I've come onto the roof and as I've learned more about my own chart with human design, knowing to wait out my emotional wave before I decide to go into experiences, I know which ones are more correct for me. So that's also a very important thing to consider, because when we enter into experiences, especially as an emotional authority, without getting clarity about whether we should do this or not, we're going to enter into experiences that may not always be the most comfortable and maybe a little bit more bumpy. Not saying it's a bad thing, because regardless, we're always going to take something away from whatever experience we've entered into, and we're always going to learn from it. And so, like I said, this really brings a lot of purpose for me personally, because as I'm more aware of when I enter into experiences or when I'm in the middle, I can become more of this calm person that says, this isn't good, this isn't bad, it just is. And I can say, okay, I'm just gonna be the observer in the situation. What can I learn from here? Instead of being on this high and this low with a specific channel and writing all of these emotions and getting caught up and getting lost in all the emotions. And so that's something that I've really learned a lot the last few years, is that when I am going through these experiences, I don't necessarily have to get lost in them. Not that that's a bad thing or anything. I just believe that I feel like as a 6 line, I'm becoming more of an observer and becoming more aware and more aloof of, watching things play out in my life. And so having this 3536, I can see whether I'm high or low in my wave and not judge it or try to attach to it or try to get rid of whatever's coming up or whatever's happening. It's just whoa, okay, this is happening and I can't change it. And so I'm just going to roll with it. And so it's seeing life and having experiences from this perspective makes them much more enjoyable. I can be more in the moment and be more present and actually enjoy my life, even if things feel really shitty or things aren't going as planned. And so at the end of the day, we're always, as 3536s, we're always going to have a really great story to tell everyone else at the end of the experience. And so I will say it's something that's always been natural for me, even though I didn't realize it before I even found human design. I was always sharing my experiences, whether that was through social media. I also had a blog that I wrote in a lot and shared a lot of my experiences, and it just felt very natural for me. And even YouTubing about human design, this is actually something I'm experimenting with my 3536, is when I'm in the mood with my 1222, I'm going to record these videos after I have, gone through my experience with my 3536, and with my 6447, I've made, kind of more sense of of what I've gone through. And then I can share it with the collective. I have these 2 collective channels and 1 individual channel. And so having this collective channel is something that I feel like I can really contribute to other people. And I don't mean that in like an arrogant way or anything. I feel like it's just something that's really natural for me. And so that's why I love going on adventures and having, variety in my life, because it's like I'm here to just feel. Like I'm just here to feel all of the differences and the variety of life, and to be a human being, and to like have all of these emotions as I go up and down all my emotional waves when I'm going through an experience. And it's just like, wow, that took me for a ride. But like that's something that I love as a 35-36. And I will say, as someone who is a little bit more aware than I used to be, I can see where I've really dragged people into my experiences or my emotions or my dramas in the past. And I'm becoming a little bit more aware of like, oh, okay, maybe I don't need to share every bit of this or try to drag people into certain aspects of my experience, because they don't have the 35-36 and they may not be equipped to handle these emotional waves because I'm not aware, or I'm bringing them in for a ride that they didn't really ask for. So that's something to be hyper aware of. For example, I'm going through an experience of, should I quit my job or not? And sharing this with my friends, where I'm like, yeah, I love my job. And then like 5 weeks later, I'm like, I hate my job. And I'm like taking them through this emotional experience where I'm like bringing them into it. And then they feel like they're getting kind of thrown around too. And so, I don't think that's necessarily fair. It's just an emotion that I can work through myself, so that at the end of that experience, when I do make my decision to stay or leave at my job, and then I can look back and say, oh, okay, that's where I went through my wave, and that's where this happened, and this is where my decision changed, or this is where I found clarity, and this happened. And then I can share my wisdom, or I can share my experience with the collective, so they can see the emotional depth that I went through in order to make my final decision. And so like when you're in the middle of your experiences, you may not always know that you're in the middle of your experiences, and you can bring people into it. I still do that sometimes, but it can be a little bumpy for other people, and there can be conflict for people who have only one of those gates and you have that full channel. So there can be conflict, especially, for example, say you have the 35-36 and someone has just 36, and it's like, it's almost like you're competing for crisis sometimes, having that like the full channel and then someone only having that partial channel. So something to be aware of, something I've observed in my life personally, having that full channel and then having some more extreme crisis or conflict with somebody else who doesn't have that full channel, because there is that compromise in that channel. And kind of going back to travel, I feel like I need to travel in order to experience different places, different people, different things, different foods, like just everything. I just need to experience it all. Like I need to take it all in. And I've always been really kind of hard on myself, because I'm like, oh man, am I ever going to settle down? And it can be kind of frustrating sometimes, because you're just like, wow, I want something new. And as I get older, I'm playing around with saying, okay, where can I find newness or variety in my everyday life, where I don't need to literally seek out an entirely new location just to be stimulated and just to be satisfied, because there is this hunger that comes with this channel where I'm like, I need to go have variety or something new happen, because you get bored and you aren't filling up your cup with this specific channel. So that is something that I've been able to tap into a little bit, just say, okay, like, where can I find the excitement and the variety in my everyday life, or in smaller things? And that could just be something as simple as, going for a walk somewhere different in your neighborhood or taking a different route and just noticing like, oh, there are these flowers that I've never seen before, and then smelling the flowers and taking that in and experience and having that new experience with that flower that I never even noticed before. So when you really begin to slow down more into the stillness instead of getting caught up in this excitement of having a completely new adventure, then you realize there's adventure in every single moment that you're living and breathing. And so that's something to really sit with. It's something that I don't say struggled with, but being able to slow down and to be more present and be more still, it's more fulfilling and it's more exciting in a lot of different ways than constantly moving around or traveling. And yeah, that's the 35-36. It's been a wild ride for me and really learning how to understand it. I'll probably do another video. I'm going to be listening or doing more of my own experimentation with this channel in the near future. Having my YouTube channel is actually a really big experimentation for me because, like I said earlier, I am having my experiences and I'm starting to share more of those experiences, not just through human design, but from like yoga and my like different types of healing work that I've gone through, my different adventures with travels and things like that. I'm starting to share that more in video form, which is a little bit frightening for me, or I'm just kind of like, who wants to hear this? But it's just this big experience of being like, wow, I've gone through a lot in my life. Why don't I start to share some of this and kind of organize the thoughts and share it with other people? And so this is how my experimentation with my human design has been going is, especially having the 1222, it's a channel right next to the 35-36 from the solar plexus to the throat. When I'm in the mood, using my voice in order to share my experiences is going to have more of a deeper impact, which is my satisfaction as a manifestor is to really see the impact that I have on other people, or to know that I'm having an impact on other people because of these experiences and parts of my chart that I'm able to communicate. I'm able to communicate my emotions and my experiences. It's a very, very large part of my chart. And so just really playing around with that a lot. And so there's going to be a lot more videos out about me talking more about my different life experiences. So I hope you guys join me and watch some more of those videos, and feel free to leave any comments on any of my videos. And if you have the 35-36, I'd love to hear what your experiences have been like. If you don't, but you know people around you or you have close friends with it, I'm curious what your experience has been. Are you riding those waves with your friends? Are you going through those big adventures and experiences with them? I'm curious what your observations are as someone on the outside who's kind of looking in. So thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I'm going to be posting a lot more of these videos surrounding human design and my personal experience in the future. So I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks. Bye.